Welcome to Investing Confidential. Okay, I'm going to talk about China today. China, by the way, China's done as a global powerhouse. Okay, it's never going to catch the US, never going to catch the EU. Okay, this is not consensus, but I'm going to give you my 2 cents. Someone who's been to China, you know, numerous times throughout the last 20 years and invested and I've been to over 20 cities, invested in tons of companies, and I'm going to give you my views. And then I'm going to talk towards the end of the video about this whole Alibaba spinoff and what I think. Okay, so non-consensus. China's done. How did China go from a rising world power? Everyone praised China. Everyone's China to basically it's a wounded country. Okay. China's a wounded country. And you have one person to blame. Yeah, Z, this chairman Z. Okay. He came in with all hot and bothered. He came in with the intent to have absolute power. He wanted to be the next Mao Zedong. Okay. So what did he do when he first came in? He jailed all of his adversaries. Okay. Cracking down on corruption. China is essentially a corrupt country. It's a corrupt oligarchy, right? Everyone's corrupt. Okay. Chairman G, I have to admit, is probably not corrupt. And he probably saw it as an opportunity. So he jailed people. Then he decided to really crack down on the engine of growth. He started with Evergrande. Okay. Evergrande was the largest real estate company in China. Now it's toast. Okay. This is the engine of growth for China. Okay. It's always been, and I've mentioned that in a number of videos in the past. Then he went after conglomerates like Angbang Insurance, a number of others. These are companies like Angbang bought, for example, the Waldorf Astoria in New York City, which, by the way, is still closed. Okay, these are large companies, went around the world buying buying real estate, buying everything. Okay, paintings, everything, and the leaders of these companies either are in jail or they're dead. Okay, so one guy fell off a cliff in France taking a selfie. Right, look, this is real stuff. Okay, so he cracked down, wiped out all these guys. These are multi-billion-dollar companies that are now worth zero. Okay, wiped them out. Okay, he needed to crush everyone. Okay, and he decided again to crush the golden goose, which was real estate and all these big conglomerates that were basically corrupt, taking bank loans, et cetera. Because all of the real estate and all of these purchases overseas were done through insider bank loans. Okay, there was nothing, there were no profits. This was a profitless, and I'm going to just talk about the whole profitless industry. Then he decided to go after the tech entrepreneurs who were growing in power and getting bigger and bigger and listing their companies overseas. First, he went after Dede. Now I'm going to tell you one. Dede is essentially the Uber of China. I'm going to tell you right now. This was I used Dede in the past. This was the best app I've ever used. Okay, bar none. But Dede got too powerful. I think they had something like $1 billion. The largest app ever downloaded in the history of apps because it was that good in China. They're also outside of China, but in China it was phenomenal. Okay, the Chinese government squashed the company. I think the peak was 80 billion. Now it's a fraction of that. Okay. And now essentially it's run by some Chinese government insiders, not the company it was, but who knows in the future. Then he went after Jack Ma. Okay. Jack Ma disappeared for months, months on months on months. Okay. Was in some kind of camps, reevaluating his life. Then he hit some of the other tech companies. Okay. What is the result was obvious. The economy was crushed. This is before the pandemic, by the way. Okay, and then Z, because he's afraid of his people, decided to go with this zero COVID policy. That's gone. Z is wounded. He's essentially dead man walking in political terms. Okay, that's something you haven't heard. He's a dead man walking. This guy's power is dropping every day. Okay, the Politburo, which controls China, is now all against him. Okay. And then you've got this other thing again. He started this Belt and Road. This was a giant failure. The Chinese government, the Chinese banks, they've squandered billions. Okay, got a lot of press. Hey, the Belt and Road, Belt and Road. This thing's done. It's over. Okay. Again, what's the result? Foreign direct investment, what we call FDI, has slowed to a trickle, probably even negative now. China was the largest destination of FDI in the world. It's no longer. Okay. Why? Globalism is dead. Okay. Globalism is dead. China caused globalism to be dead. There are now over 400 trade agreements around the world. You don't need any more trade agreements. Okay. Now we're going at regionalism, nationalism. Okay. This is not good for China. Not good for China. And by the way, China over the last 20 years has been an exporter of deflation. Okay. Okay. Now it's going to be the opposite. Okay? That's all we need now in the world. China is going to export inflation, not deflation, because the workers are revolting. They want higher wages, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have this Taiwan issue. They keep using Taiwan as a rallying point, but it's not working. The Chinese people, honestly, the man on the ground doesn't give a rat's ass about Taiwan. Okay, China needs Taiwan. Taiwanese executives, Taiwanese business are big investors in China. Okay, they need Taiwan. Okay, US VCs. Here we go. US VCs they're no longer putting a lot of money in China. They're pulling out of China, actually. Okay, that's another issue for funding that's gone or going away. Okay, China's trying now to resuscitate the real estate industry through bank loans, massive amounts of stimulation, very aggressive, just like the old days, but it's not working, as you can see here. Okay, the amount of space being produced, it's not working. People aren't buying it. People are not going back and buying houses like crazy. Okay, it's not working. Okay, so what now? So here, this is a big chart. China selling off US Treasuries. Okay, this is true. This is a big number, but it's not what people saying. Okay, they're not trying to create a new fiat currency. The yuan cannot be the US dollar. It's not free trading. It can't be a reserve currency, no matter what you hear from the talking heads on both sides of the aisle. It can't be. Why is China selling off US Treasuries? They need the cash. Yes, they need the cash. They are trying to stimulate their own economy. They're trying to save this, kind of cover the holes of this Belt and Road and other things. They need cash. That's why they're selling treasuries. Okay, that's it. China's biggest issue at the end of the day, though, is demographics, as you can see here. It's got major demographic issues. They're causing their own demise. And by the way, this will never be resolved. China is doomed because it's homogeneous. China do not want immigrants. They don't want Chinese marrying outside. This is a homogeneous society similar to Japan, and it's doomed. Okay. Now let's talk about the corporate sector. Chinese profits, as you can see here, non-existent. I think the corporate sector is wounded. It always has been, but they've hit it. Chinese companies were never profitable, but now we're really seeing the curtain pulled away. Okay, look here. Why is Tesla having major problems in China? Well, simply because the Chinese want their people to buy domestic brands because they need to trying to stimulate the economy. So Tesla's screwed. Tesla put its bet it's like Apple. Okay, I'm going to talk about Apple again. Apple's looking today. I heard they're going to buy Disney. What a joke. Anyway, let's get off Apple for a second here. Let's continue with the Chinese corporate sector. So now let's talk about Alibaba. So Alibaba is splitting up the company, as you can see here. This is some Goldman Sachs research, and what you see here is basically what the spinoffs are going to be. Okay, so you've got an entertainment, digital media. That's actually good. International digital commerce. That's the Alibaba where people buy uniforms, that kind of thing. That's obviously very good. Then you've got some local businesses, and then you've got the Chinese commerce, which is Taobao. Okay, very good. Then you've got the cloud business and some others. Okay, why are they doing this? Eventually, what they're doing is they want to list all these new entities because this is what Wall Street tells you. It's trading at a holding company discount. It is, by the way. It's trading at a 50% discount to NAV, okay, which is very, very steep. U.S. holding companies are around 20% discount. So it's a massive discount for a lot of different reasons. Some of it's the fact that their structure is in the Cayman Islands, but that's another story. But I don't think this is the real reason why they're trying to narrow the NAV. I think the CCP is the real reason, the Chinese Communist Party. You have to separate the global businesses, okay, from the domestic businesses. Alibaba wants less China exposure. Okay. So just looking at this possibility of this NAV, it didn't help JD.com. Okay. JD.com tried the same thing, hasn't helped really. They're about 40% discount to NAV. So I don't think it's going to help. So I'm really skeptical on whether Alibaba is going to achieve this full NAV, or even if they want to. Okay. Even if but the only way they're going to get something out of it is they're going to do 100% spinoffs, it looks like. Okay. Now, Jack Ma is back in China, coincidentally, when this was announced. Okay, I think he sees and he feels X's grip slipping, so he decided to come back to China. He's been living in Japan, the U.S., very low profile. Okay, so this is interesting. So, but this is what I'm telling you is not the Wall Street narrative. Okay, this could be good for some Chinese companies that have Western style management within Alibaba and others. Okay, but it's going to expose all this happening in China, what I just mentioned, is going to expose a lot of issues. Okay. So Alibaba, is it a buy? Alibaba probably is going higher. If they announce 100% spinoffs, then that's when you're going to see the real unlocking of NAV. But I don't think just with small pieces of companies going public in Hong Kong or whatever, it's going to represent a meaningful move upside for the current Alibaba stock. So take a look at situations like this. And if you're an investor, you're looking at Alibaba, you're looking at JD and some of the others, be careful out there.